Welcome on in to Green Couch Chats, a series all about opening up conversations about mental health. I'm joined today by Janae Smith, who's a friend from Florida, but now joins me in Utah. She's a BYU graduate where she brought the Body Project. She's a published author in Forbes, where she wrote about investing in long-term addiction recovery. She's a growing content creator, a powerful speaker, and a great friend. So I'm really excited to have you, Janae. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for those kind words.
Oh, 100%. Now, I want to know, because you are so passionate about mental health, and that is a lot of just how you're using your platform on social media to address mental health and diet culture and body image. Where did that stem from?
The biggest thing for me was actually in 2020, right before the pandemic, I was sexually assaulted, and that really disconnects you from your own body. And so I kind of went on this journey of trying to reclaim my body, come back to it, heal my relationship with my body. I'd spent so long, like lots of other girls and women, we kind of bully ourselves, right? And so I kind of went down this road of trying to figure out how to take my body back. And I was really fortunate to have a professor at BYU who taught this class about body image. And I ended up being her TA, and she mentored me, and it was just this really phenomenal experience that I went through at the same time, like healing from sexual assault. And so those two things kind of coincided.
I'm really sorry that that happened to you, and that was kind of, it seems like, what stemmed your passion for all of this. So I'm sorry that that had to happen for you to go on this healing journey. But it sounds like, would you say that was the first time that you didn't feel at home in your body when you experienced that, or was it sometime before?
When I got to college, I did feel like disconnected from my body, but it wasn't like alien or like removed from my body. You get to college and everybody talks about like freshman 15, like it's this really bad thing. And oh, it's the first time you can make decisions about food. And so you eat too much. Freshman 15 is actually like a super normal, natural thing because your body is going from a child body to an adult body. Like that's so normal. But I didn't realize that at the time. And so you feel a little bit out of place in your own body because you're like, wait, what is happening? But yeah, I think the first time I felt really, really disconnected from my body was after I'd been assaulted.
What did it take for you to start to feel at home in your body again? And when did you start to feel that?
Yeah. It's interesting because I think change, we sometimes view change as like only action or only mindset, but I think it's kind of a combination of the two things. I was able to shift to sort of this identity of like, okay, I want to feel at home in my body. So that means treating myself with kindness, and also acting in a way that backs that up, that gives support to this sort of mindset I'm trying to create. So there's this sort of spectrum. So we have body hate, which I think a lot of women, unfortunately, are really familiar with. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have body positivity. But in the middle of the spectrum, there's sort of body neutrality. And so if you're in body hate and you have all these people on the internet telling you, you just need to love your body, you just need to love your body when you absolutely hate it. Like that's not, your brain can't conceptualize how to do that.
Right.
And so shifting to sort of this, I'm grateful for what my body can accomplish. Like I don't have to love the way that my body looks all the time, but I can be grateful for my legs carrying me places or my arms that I can write and create. I'm grateful for my brain. I'm grateful for my eyes and all the things that I can see and take in. And so when you start to view it that way with more gratitude, you don't have to love the way that you look. Like sometimes I still do struggle and I'm not like obsessed with myself because we're still so steeped in this diet culture every time we open our phones.
And the freshman 15, you do bring up a really interesting point there too, with our bodies just naturally changing at that time in our lives. A lot of people's response to that is restrictive dieting and regimens. What alternatives would you propose to that?
So I'm a big proponent of intuitive eating. I think that our bodies were designed with everything that we need in them. You don't need somebody to tell you when to drink water or when to go to the bathroom. Like those are very natural things that are built into your body. We're born with those instincts and with that wisdom. It's cultured out of us. So I'm a big proponent of intuitive eating, which there's kind of these 10 principles, and it's not a strict structure, and it's going to look different for everyone. But part of intuitive eating is accepting the fact that like your body may change, and that's okay. And there's a gentle nutrition component, and there's all these different components around learning how to reject diet culture. But that's my alternative, just because it's been studied again and again and again for over 2 decades and consistently comes back as the most effective combatant to a restrictive diet and the most peaceful, nourishing, whole, authentic way to like take care of yourself.
The stories that we tell ourselves are really, really important. And I know that this is something that you talk a lot about on your TikTok. When it comes to your narrative that you tell yourself, what do you tell Janae Smith? What's your narrative?
It's a really good question. My narrative is that I'm a work in progress, and that's okay. I no longer feel the need to treat myself like a never-ending home improvement project. I realize that I'm not perfect, and that's okay. I'm going to strive to work on the things that I want to work on, but I'm not going to do it all at once, and I'm not going to strive for flawlessness. And in doing that, I'm actually coming back to myself. As long as I'm doing my best, I can accept the fact that I'm not always going to get it right. I don't have to be perfect. And again, coming back to this idea that like I've always had everything that I needed inside. I've let everybody else in the world tell me that I didn't, but I do, and I can trust myself. And I think that's also true for all of us. And I think that's sort of the narrative that we have to start telling ourselves is like, you are enough. You are capable. Like you can do this.
It's Janae Smith, and you are so fabulous, so amazing. And I appreciate your time so, so much. Janae, thank you so much for joining me on Green Couch Chats.
Thank you for having me.